Hey everyone, welcome back. In today's episode, Huyen returns to a place filled with memories, her old home. With a heart full of emotions and a strong will to move forward, she begins the journey of restoring this little house, once a symbol of hope and love. Though she knows the road ahead won't be easy with challenges waiting from her brother's side of the family, Huyen is ready to face it all with courage. This episode isn't just about going back home. It's a deeply personal journey that's sure to touch your heart. If you're someone who appreciates quiet, meaningful moments and real emotional storytelling, you're in the right place. Make sure to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a step in Huyen's journey. Now let's dive into today's story together. She walked slowly down the quiet village road, her footsteps soft against the earth. Huyen moved alone, wrapped in the gentle breeze of a late afternoon. There was no one by her side, only the weight of her thoughts echoing in silence. Will I really be happy if I stay? The question kept circling in her mind like a whisper with no answer. By the edge of a small river, she sat down. The wind played through her hair as she watched the water drift by. Memories began to return, painful ones, some full of longing, and one above all, filled with a love that had never truly left her. Her eyes shimmered with emotion as she whispered to herself, "Maybe coming back home is the right thing." A soft gust of wind brushed past, almost like a gentle voice, encouraging her to keep going. She nodded. This time, she wouldn't give up. She couldn't, not for herself, not for Day, and not for Maya, her little girl, who deserved a life filled with peace and love. With her heart clear, Huyen stood up and turned back. But this time, she wasn't heading toward the unknown. She was walking home to a place that once held the warm laughter of a mother and child. The house appeared through the trees, small, simple, untouched by time. As she stepped closer, her hand brushed gently against the old wooden door. A quiet smile crossed her face, not because everything was perfect, but because she knew, with a little care, this could be a safe, quiet world of their own, a world where no one could hurt them anymore. A new chapter is beginning. Will Huyen be strong enough to see it through? Stay with us. The next part of this emotional journey is just getting started. The old familiar place came into view, weathered by time, yet unchanged in spirit. Huyen stood quietly on the porch, a lump rising in her throat. The stillness around her felt like it had held its breath all these years, waiting for this very moment. But just as she was lost in memory, a familiar voice called out softly behind her, "Huyen, are you really sure you want to come back here?" It was Dee. Same voice, same gaze. But now it held something else. Worry, hesitation, maybe even fear. She turned to face him, her voice calm but firm. "I don't want to put you in a hard place with Aunt Hong, but staying here, Maya and I, it's the best choice for everyone." Silence. Thick lingering. Even the air seemed to hold back. Then Dee stepped closer, his eyes steady. "Let me help you fix this house. If you and Maya are happy, that's all I care about." No more words were needed. The truth was already in their hearts. Two people, once distant, once hurt, now silently choosing to rebuild something together. Not just a house, but the love that never really left. Huyen rolled up her sleeves, digging into the soil with the first strike of the shovel. Dee got to work beside her, hammering the cracked foundation with steady hands. Each sound of the tools felt like a heartbeat, echoing hope and quiet determination. The once abandoned home filled with life, the solid buzz of Dee's saw, the rhythmic sweep of Huyen's broom, and Maya's joyful laughter chasing little BB around the yard. "Mommy, we're really back in our happy house, aren't we?" Maya shouted, eyes sparkling. Huyen paused, looking at her daughter. A soft smile spread across her face. Somehow, in all the sweat and dust, her heart felt at peace. Though their bodies ached, though their hands were tired, they didn't stop. Because now more than ever, they understood. Every small task was a step toward building a life worth holding on to. The house echoed with hammer blows and sawdust laughter, a rhythm of something being reborn. Wiping her brow, Huyen looked at Day. "Take a break, Da. We can keep going in a bit." He just smiled, eyes still focused, because today wasn't just about rebuilding a house. It was about rebuilding trust, healing what was broken, and starting once again. A journey of love. The sun had begun to blaze, higher in the sky, its heat growing sharper by the hour. But a soft breeze still drifted through the air, gently wiping away the sweat on Huyen's brow, like nature itself was trying to offer her comfort. In the small yard, Huyen and Dee worked in quiet rhythm. There weren't many words between them, just the sounds of tools breathing and the silent understanding of two people rebuilding something fragile and real. Huyen carefully split each bamboo stalk with calm precision. Every clean slice, every smooth surface seemed to carve away a little bit of the weight in her chest. As her fingers brushed along the cool green bamboo, it felt like some of her pain was finally being released. Next to her, Dee worked with the thicker bamboo poles. He measured and drilled with steady hands, making sure every piece fit just right with the frame. Every motion was intentional, like he was laying the foundation not just for a house, but for the future of the three of them. After hours of labor, the first bamboo beams stood tall, simple but sturdy. Huyen stood for a moment, eyes resting on their progress. It wasn't much yet, not a grand structure, but it was a beginning, a tangible sign of hope. She turned to look at Dee, who was still catching his breath, wiping sweat from his face after a long morning's work. Gently, she walked toward him and said quietly, "Thuck, he's in prison now. I just hope, from now on, you and I can finally find happiness." Dee paused, then looked at her with a reassuring calm. He took her hand, calloused rough but warm, and said, "Don't worry. I'll take care of you and Maya. I'll give everything I have to make that happen." Huyen nodded, but in her eyes, a flicker of uncertainty remained like ripples under the surface of still water. Her voice dropped hesitant. "What if Aunt Hong finds out? What if she comes and causes trouble?" For a moment, the wind seemed to stop. The world held its breath again. Then Dee gripped her hand tighter, his voice firm. "Don't be afraid. We'll find a way through it. I'll talk to her myself." It wasn't a loud promise, but it echoed like a vow. Still deep down, both of them knew peace was only just beginning. The real storms might still be on their way. Would this little home be strong enough to protect three hearts that had already been through so much? Could love truly rise above bitterness, judgment, and the scars of the past. This story isn't over yet. Stay with us, because what's coming next will be even more powerful and moving. The sky had started to turn a dusky shade of violet gray, with the last golden rays slipping behind the trees in the distance. The breeze had lost its warmth no longer, the refreshing gusts of morning, but a cool chill hinting that evening was on its way. Huyen wiped the sweat from the back of her neck and turned to her voice soft but laced with quiet care. "You keep going. I'll run to the market and grab some meat for dinner." Dee looked up, the fading sunlight still lingering in his eyes. He answered with the calm tenderness that had become so familiar. "Be safe. Don't be long, okay?" A simple sentence, yet it carried a weight of affection and quiet worry, the kind that made it feel like they'd been doing this for years. But the truth was, they were only just beginning again. Huyen nodded and stepped away, her pace quick, but full of something deeper hope. She moved swiftly down the dirt path leading toward the village market. The low sun cast long shadows behind her, catching the glisten of sweat on her back from a long day's work. But in her mind, there was only one thing: finding the best cut of meat. She wanted to cook something good for Day and for Maya. A real family dinner. Something she once thought she'd never have again. The market was quiet this late in the day. A few people lingered, the air thick with the scent of fresh herbs, grilled fish, and wood smoke curling from street vendors' stoves. It all wrapped around her like a memory she hadn't touched in years. She stopped at a meat stall, carefully picking through the cuts, not just for flavor, but to pour every ounce of love, hope, and silent gratitude into the meal. Gratitude for the man still working behind her, building a home for a future they weren't sure they'd ever reach. But deep in her chest, something stirred. A feeling she couldn't name. A vague unease that hadn't faded, not even when Dee held her hand earlier. She clutched the small bag of meat tightly, then turned back toward home, unaware that on this quiet path, beneath the fading light, peace might not be waiting. Maybe something else was.
lướt qua mái tóc của dòng nước lặng lẽ trôi nhẹ buồn có đau thương cũng hay rất là khó tôi chưa bao giờ từ bỏ. Mắt cô hiện lên sự xúc động khi thầm có lẽ trở về ngôi nhà sẽ tốt hơn, trở về ngôi nhà cũ sẽ tốt hơn. Cơn gió nhẹ thoáng qua những lời tầm tiếp thêm sức mạnh về gật đầu. Lần này cô sẽ không bỏ cuộc, cô sẽ mạnh mẽ vượt qua tất cả vì anh đệ nghe lúc con gái bé bỏng xứng đáng có một cuộc sống yên bình hạnh phúc. Khi những suy nghĩ đã rõ ràng, cô đứng dậy quay bước trở về, nhưng điểm đến lần này không phải là một nơi xa lạ mà chính là căn nhà nhỏ nơi từng chất chứa biết bao tiếng cười của hai mẹ con. Căn nhà được ra sau đó